Good morning. This is Oscar Sample reporting to you live from the Brick Arts Media TV studio in downtown Brooklyn. Welcome to the show. Today we are going to discuss something that, needless to say, is controversial, and at the same time, given the political state of affairs being what they are, it's not controversial at this point. It's just par for the course. It's pretty standard. 3 days ago, Donald Trump made a statement that if he chose to, he could eradicate Afghanistan from the face of the earth. The first problem that I have with that statement that Donald Trump made, beyond the fact that it was dictatorial and extremely dangerous, was the fact that he didn't even bother to say, let me sit down with my consortium of associates and make decisions accordingly. This is a one-man enterprise. He's not interested in what his chief of staff or anybody has to say to him, because he has his own perception of things, and regardless of what you bring to the table professionally, he's not interested. The only thing that matters is his perception and concept of the world, be it external or internal to the United States. I would say to Mr. Trump, beyond the fact that that sounds extremely dangerous and inhumane, before you eradicate Afghanistan from the face of the earth and can kill 10 million people, you need to address the problems that exist within the United States. If you're going to go on a campaign of killing, you need to kill the garbage that roams the streets of this country. You need to clean out the trash that is languishing in the United States penal system. As an example, I'm not trying to understand a 22-year-old male individual beating up and sexually assaulting an 80-year-old woman. We are living in a society that is driven and engineered by the cultural conventions of the American white man. As I have shared with you many times in the past, I'm not of Muslim background, but I am a full believer and advocate, unequivocally when it is proven to be beyond the shadow of a doubt guilt. I do believe in full extent Sharia law. If I steal your pocketbook, I'm going to lose my hand for it. Subsequently, if I take your life, my own life will be revoked. Many years ago, I felt that that was extreme, but in light of what's transpiring right now in the United States, I think it is the appropriate protocol. We have reached a point of social and spiritual digression in the United States where people need to be confronted with their own mortality. When you live in a society where prison is casual, you've done something egregiously wrong and you're in danger. I'm not going to tell you ultimately that any of these answers will prove to be the final answer, because ultimately the only solution to mankind's problems are ultimately going to come from the Most High himself. Looking at this from a human perspective, I would say we need to address problems that are internal here in the United States. Donald Trump is a one-man Gestapo, and he is in the process of trying to engineer the world and restructure it in such a way that he would consider to be appropriate. But at the same time, he's not addressing problems that exist in this country, and they are problems that momentarily are about to boil over in the cauldron that they are presently in. I do not believe that the Islamic fundamentalist or the Mexican alien is going to prove to be the problem when the curtain finally comes down out here in the streets, and ultimately the only thing that reigns is mayhem. Mr. Trump, you need to address the issues that are in this country. I know, for example, that if you had free reign, you would address things a lot more aggressively than the United States Justice Department does, because in essence what we have here is what I've come to regard as a reconfigured plantation. Jail is a facility that many men and women are sitting in, and in essence it has become a hotel, a staging ground where people can do what they do. And subliminally, you're being put in a state of mind where, depending on where you are within the privacy of your own damnation, you don't have a problem doing it all over again. You need to clean up the garbage that's in the streets of this country. You need to clean up the garbage that's in the jails, flourishing. You need to eradicate that element of society that can kill someone over a dirty look, or what essentially is a bullshit altercation at a red light, or what you perceive as a dirty look, or because you're anxious to be accepted into a street organization, you can walk up to a stranger and arbitrarily shank them. Mr. Trump, the problem is not Afghanistan and what is beyond the parameters of this country. The problems are internal. You need to find out what your priorities should be, and you need to address them accordingly. because unbeknownst to you, you have all the elements in place in the United States for anarchy. And in particular, as I look as a resident of New York State and New York City, everything that you need to create upheaval is structured and it's positioned and it's ready to go. It's only going to take one incident that will prove to be the catalyst to set this reaction off. The climate socially is very dangerous and it is extremely volcanic. Mr. Trump, find yourself and find respect. Thank you, and we will speak shortly.